Hello and welcome to the show. I am here today on automation with a little bit of a challenge. You see, I have built plenty of sports cars and driven, sports, performance and supercars and whatnot, taken them from automation and put them on Beam and driven them around. But I am kind of curious to find out how a full-on off-roader would work. You see, there is plenty of maps and there's plenty of fun to be had on Beam, building very, very specific off-road vehicles, building your fancy, using, your fancy looking this full-on rock crawlers even for some of the trails that are around, which is a very interesting aspect of the game. But how would a vehicle made in automation fare if it had to do some serious, not just talk about, the odd little rally stage here, but for some serious off-roading? Now, I think we're going to go for, I'm just trying to decide between this tiny little thing or this, well, this apparently, this looks a lot bigger than that. That's technically a longer, shall we go for a little tiny off-roader? Shall we go for a little tiny convertible off-roader? Let's go for a little off-roader, we shall see. Now, I don't know a damn thing when it comes to off-roading, particularly. I'm not very good at driving them off-road, and I'm not going to be massively great at building them. I'm going to be going based on what the statistics look like. And that might be a wonky way to do it, but there we go. I feel like maybe a light truck monocoque might be a good idea. Probably. I mean, I just see the word truck and think that's probably gonna work. I would imagine. I mean, we don't want the thing to be amazingly, ridiculously heavy, but we do, I guess, want it to be a half-decent vehicle, potentially. Let's just go for corrosion-resistant steel. We will, naturally be going for 4x4. So we want front longitudinal. I can speak. Now, what is the best for us in terms of off-roading? Solid axle coil is the best way to go. That looks like what we are going to be going with, and unless anything is significantly better, which I would imagine it's not, because all of that is sort of sports racing suspension. So, solid axle coils all round. Now, I might be doing this terribly wrong. I'm literally just going based on the stats. I apologise if that is the case, but I don't really know what we're doing, and it's kind of more of just an experiment to see what happens. Engine-wise, I mean, it'd be rude not to go with a V8 of some description, I feel. It would be rude not to go for a decent V8 on this. We'll go with cast. We'll go with, a little bit rudimentary. I mean, at the end of the day, the engine here is not so important. The engine here is not so important. Actually, what we want is probably a. Because I'm used to building very, very high revvy engines. Now, for off-roading, we're probably going to want some torque. So I believe, basically you make a shorter stroke is better for high revs, better for high RPM. So I'm going to guess longer stroke will give us better low-down torque. Now, we're not going to be having a crazy, ridiculous. We're probably not going to go for turbos. I don't know. We'll see. We're not going to go for a crazy high revving engine. That's not what we want on this one. We'll go for a vaguely sensible. We'll go for. Let's go for 4 dual overhead cam engine on it. I mean, it's still going to be pretty powerful. I want it to be pretty damn powerful. However, it doesn't need to be insane. We will go forged steel because we're not going to be pushing out the truly crazy numbers. Heavy duty forged will work there, and max torque heavy duty cast might actually work as well. We might change that to forged. We'll see what sort of RPM we can and can't get going. Sure, what we'll do with that. We'll keep it naturally aspirated for now. Direct injection. And all this stuff here just kind of makes sense. It doesn't really cost that much, I guess, per cylinder. It's quite expensive. So maybe we will keep it on a slight. Well, we'll keep it on sort of slight, vague, okay-ish. Again, sort of middle of the road area. Engine bay is quite full. It'll work. It'll work. We'll go with tube load. I'm not quite sure how much power we're going to end up with here. It's going to be a road car, so we will go with. Let's get a little bit of power out of it. There we go. Okay, so we've got a decent amount of torque. We've got a decent amount of torque going on here. The pistons do start giving up a little bit at the higher end of the rev range, I think. Right, so can we just crank up? I mean, we want a little bit more than 200 horsepower and 300 torque if we can get it. We don't want to go too aggressive on the old cam profile here, because we don't really want the power band to be, hugely wonky. essentially. That's not particularly what we're after. Maybe we'll just stick forged ones in there just to keep it happy with that, and then we can actually probably push it a little bit. We can push it up to 7,000 RPM. We're not going to really need that. Again, I should point out, I don't really know what the bloody hell I am doing in terms of the... Oh, there we go. That's a bit better power-wise. Don't really know what I'm doing in terms of building engines for torque. I'm just so not used to it. Ooh, that gives us a lot less... Okay, I tend to always stick on bypass valves. No valves. No valves at all. Does that... Oh, okay, so we get much better... you know, like, I can't resist the allure of bigger numbers. Just bigger numbers are the way to go. 386 torque, 391 horsepower. So, I mean, this is, you know, not bad. Not bad in terms of power. Let's just crank that one up a little bit. Sure, why not? 400 torque sounds like a nice round number to me if we can get to it. We can go a little bit more aggressive, potentially. Not too much more aggressive there. Can't. We'll leave at 397. I guess I could probably do that. There we go. I got the figure I wanted. 400 torque, 400 horsepower. So engine-wise, I mean it's pretty solid. Actually, can we do anything with the exhaust without going up for? Oh, we can squeeze. Oh, it's because I was actually kind of slightly restricted. It was helping the exhaust. Sure, we'll go with 400, 430 horsepower, 400 torque. Let's give it a quick test, of course. See what it sounds like. Yeah, I mean it is not a terribly bad sounding engine. Of course, it will do. It will do the trick, and it does all fit within. Those wheels are not correct. It looks like a Porsche. Like the body style is very much like a Porsche Cayenne, and it looks like they've put a Porsche Cayenne on go-kart wheels and somehow expecting that to work. I mean, it doesn't really. It doesn't really. Right, let's go for some headlights. What can we do in terms of the headlights on the vehicle? I'm not great I'm not great at designing cars. Full stop. I'm definitely not great when it comes to designing of the trucks, of the SUVs, and so on. Don't really like those ones on it. No, let's go for. I wonder if we go for. No, it's. I would potentially go for these, and if I had a much... This has got quite a, as far as a SUV sort of thing goes, a relatively flowy or more flowing sort of body line. These are just my go-to headlights because I know I can get them to... I know I can get them to work on this sort of style of car, or this sort of style of, in our case, kind of mini truck. Ooh, I wonder if... Will it look a little bit dodgy, or will I be relatively happy with how it goes? Now, there is a way, I was playing around with this, to send back, or is it these ones here I bring forward? There we go. So if you want to do, because I was messing around with trying to get bits to kind of match up, but if you wanted to, so if you want to have your, in this case, headlights on top of the grille, so we can go kind of for a top Kia style grille, and then we can potentially go with a, do we want to go for, I don't know if I want more chrome on the vehicle. No, I think we will go lower down. We'll just go for a kind of more usual FailRace style setup. Say FailRace style setup, I mean it is what it is. I certainly didn't pioneer it myself, however I've just kind of grown to like the look of these sort of piece grill setups. It's not the prettiest car. Again, I mean, it's probably not going to be... Oh, I didn't do the other important fixtures. Things like... Okay, these don't affect the vehicle, you know, when you put it into Beam. However, I do want it to be a vaguely complete vehicle. We'll get some taillights on the go. What sort of style taillights? What do these look like, potentially, on the back here? I was thinking as you have... So you can... it doesn't quite have as straighter a line as I was sort of hoping it to. We will have a... Oh, shall we go? We'll go with the black plate. Sort of, I guess, really classic vehicles would be the ones you'd see in England with the black plates. But we'll go with the concept car here. This is a big old concept car. So we're going to run it on some some black plates. Wing mirrors will probably be useful to see all of the things that you've probably hit or failed, in our case, to have gone over, because the off-roading part is terrible. Big-ish old wing mirrors. You know, it's not the worst thing I've ever built. It's better than my other off-roaders I've built. So that's a thing. And then let's chuck an exhaust. I mean, this is not going to last long in Beam. The exhaust, the fixtures do tend to fall off quite easily. Okay, it's simple. It does what it needs to do, basically. Okay, it just that grill piece just instantly makes me think Kia. Longitudinal 4x4 is what we want. Now, I am going to be wanting a manual if I'm going to be messing around with it off-road. I don't know if you can get thinking about it, I don't know if you can get a low-range gearbox on auto. That might be our downfall here. So it reckons its top speed is 109, although that is just because we've got the gearing for 109. It reckons it'll do 100 and... Oh, no, wait, hold on. Estimated top... I was looking at the wrong bit, I apologise. Not the estimated top speed, the one. It's 165, which is actually not too shabby. Let's go. I am going to have relatively short gear ratios, I think, for this, being designed for, you know, the more rock-crawly nature. So let's dump that all the way back. We will want a manual locker for the diffs. Tyres, we're going to want chunky off-road tyres. Now, we are definitely going to want... Oh, maybe not quite like that sort of size, but we're definitely going to want much beefier tyres, I feel, on this car. Probably going to want bigger, maybe bigger widths. Now, massive tyre widths are not necessarily good off-road. Little tyres can be advantageous when it comes to essentially cutting through the dirt. Now, I'm not sure how this is simulated between the two games. Can we go for slightly bigger? I don't know if I want that sort of size wheels, though. It does look a little bit odd, I'm going to be honest. Oh no, they're better for off-roading. So again, if it says it's better for off-roading, we're going to go for it. It does look a little bit better proportioned. That's the important thing. I'm not so worried about the number. I'm not so worried about the numbers as long as it looks okayly proportioned. I think that's the right attitude to have. We're probably, I mean... Drum brakes are technically better off-road. I feel like they might overheat. Well, I guess we're not going to... I don't know why drum brakes would be better for off-road. However, apparently the game reckons they are. I feel like we're going to probably want big drum brakes if we are going for that way. I'm sure somebody will let me know why they are better for the off-roading. Is it perhaps less bits to get dirt in because they're a sealed unit? That you don't get dirt on the discs? I don't know. That's my best guess at the moment. There might well be a very good explanation. Off-road skid tray, of course. We're not going to worry about cooling flaps. The engine actually doesn't need a massive amount of cooling, but we will give some cooling to the brake airflow. Seats, I mean, trying to make a little bit of comfort in here. Premium sat-nav, make it a little bit luxurious for your off-roading needs. Now, power steering, I guess we're probably going to go with... I mean, we don't really need... it to be ultra sporty. I guess we just want kind of drivability. Sure, variable hydraulic. I mean, I've still gone for slightly more sporty because it's just instinct for me is to go, yes, if it says better sportiness, go for it. It's so hardwired. Not going to bother with traction aids for this. We'll just for the sake of automation, I'll go with standard 90s. Right, what is our best off-road option here? Active Comfort is our best off-road option, so that's what we shall go for. Now, I'm going to hazard a guess that probably semi-active dampers... Now, there is... I had a feeling I saw somewhere... I have seen... Maybe it's under... Aha, there we go. So I have seen off-road sway bars as an option from somewhere. So off-road sway bars are right there are perhaps what we want. Off-road suspension. Now, we probably have got a pretty high ride height as it is. Drivability is not too bad. Sportiness is not too bad. I mean, we're kind of sitting in the zone. It's not I say not perfect. It's about 80% in terms of in the zone. What does it reckon on the rear ride? Frequency is low. The short gearing is reaching the car stop speed. I'm not worried about that. Wheel spin is kind of, I guess maybe the short gears are not helping that. The front brake force is low compared to grip. The car's roll angle is high. I mean, do you want me then... Maybe I'll just ignore what it reckons down here and just go for full-on... Maybe not 6 pistons, but go on vented discs all around to just give it a little bit of a chance at getting stopped. Rear tyres are wide, rear brake force is very high. Maybe we turn the rear brakes down a little smidge, just make it a little bit more tolerable for everybody in it. I actually think it was better off on the bloody drums, judging by the little characteristics there. Actually, no, it's better off vented front, drum rears. You know what? The game likes it, so I'll stay with it. Right, rear ride frequency is low, so rear ride frequency, we can put that up with, there we go, the spring setting. So this is now making it more drivable, but potentially not better. Oh, it's making it better. I don't know. That's making it better off-road or worse off-road. I think. Is that's the new off-road value? Right, okay, so it's making it worse off-road. We're going to forget just about most of the category bits that are, you know, the game reckons are important, and we're just focusing on its ability off-roading here. Do we want camber, or do we want... Oh, we can't change any of that because of our suspension setup, of course. That's not making any difference. Now, off-road sway bar shouldn't matter on that. Okay, and the ride height is as high as it will go. Now, it won't quite look like that when it's in the game, of course. That's being sat on the chassis, so the suspension's not loaded. That's the vehicle, anyway. That's the vehicle. Will it work when it comes to Beam? So, here we are with the vehicle in the game. I will be honest, suspension is a bit higher than I expected it to be. It's also quite soft. I mean, there's a lot of suspension travel. Now, it might be helpful. I think I might need to maybe not quite go so mad with the suspension height. We have got, so, interesting things to note. We have got front and rear locking diffs. It does come with you can change whether it's front wheel drive or not, and it does actually come with a low range gearbox already installed. So that's part of the, I guess, the off-road pack. As an off-road pack. When you set it to 4x4 or whatever, I guess that's what it gives. My challenge is going to be, well, see if I can climb up this mountain with the vehicle, see what gets it stumped. I mean, I don't really quite know. Oh, okay, it might be a little bit soft on the old suspension front. Okay, I think I have learned an important lesson here. Suspension stip, like, we want it to be fairly soft for, you know, going over bumps and whatnot. But there's probably a point where it's a little bit too bouncy. And I think, I'll be honest, I think I found that point. I found that point where it's a little bit too bouncy. I think I've gone, actually, I've gone way past the point of it's a little bit too bouncy. Oh God, help me. Now we're struggling. I'm struggling. Brake. Please don't kill me, car. Please don't kill me, car. Now, let's go with a nice low-range gearbox here. See if we can pull ourselves up. Now, admittedly, this bit here is actually kind of more about the attraction of the vehicle than anything else. It does not look like it's going to want to go up here. It's going to need a little bit of encouragement, I think. Oh, dear. I mean, in true FailRace fashion, it does fall over slightly. We might be able to get a tad further. Oh crap, I'm out of control a small bit. Let's maybe go over that way. We'll bound our way over there and try ascending. I was going to sort of just see how far up the mountain I can go. Apparently that little bit there is a bit difficult for the old off-roader. I think certainly if you were capable at suspension building, I mean, this is definitely very doable. Oh, my suspension is a little bit... It looks a little bit unconnected. I'm going to be honest with you. It looks a little bit unconnected. Springs look like they've just pinged themselves out of position. Okay. Yeah, I can't decide whether I want lower ride... Well, I probably want both lower ride height and... Come back over. Thank you, Jeep. Come back. Thank you for that one. I think, like, power-wise, we're more than capable. Power-wise, it's good. It's a good sort of power numbers we've got going on, good sort of torque. It's probably, it's certainly not the most powerful. I would love to be able to put superchargers on engines rather than just straight up turbo or natural effort. I think there was a time when I thought there was a supercharger version of automation. I have a feeling there might have been long ago. I could be completely and utterly wrong. But either way, yes, a supercharger would be nice to have, perhaps on an engine like this, for the big old off-roading and the ride quality. I can see why perhaps you wouldn't want to buy this vehicle as your, you know, luxury off-roader. Maybe not over the Range Rover. It might be more capable off-road, this. However, on the road, I can foresee a few issues. I can foresee quite a few issues. And this is where, like, I've built the car on automation, and you don't necessarily think about what it's going to do in terms of the driving characteristics until you... the actual driving characteristics until you drive the vehicle in Beam. And this is, you know, why this crossover is so incredible. Yeah, the vehicles aren't as detailed as the ones you get in Beam. They're not as good as the default Beam vehicles. But the fact that you can now go and test out your car, your truck, whatever it might be, in whatever scenario it is that you have devised up, is really bloody cool. Can we go for a maybe slightly different approach here? Oh, nope. That's got a little bit too steep for the vehicle. I mean, in terms of its ability to climb up the cliff, I'm going to say probably not so great. Although, to be perfectly fair, a lot of vehicles do struggle with the climb up of the cliff. I think there is a way to do it. I can't remember the path that you need. There is, like, I think there's a specific path that you might need to take. Come to think of it. Shall we try see it? We're going to have a look, see how far up that bit there we can go. We'll give it a go with our amazing off-road. I would like to think I have got a bit better at design. Like, it doesn't look as hideous as some of the vehicles I've come with. It's not the prettiest car I've ever built. That much is for sure. But it isn't god-awfully ugly. It's a bit bouncy. And that's the main criticism I would have. You know, if we don't worry too much about how it looks. But it's dealing with this terrain. I mean, I wouldn't say amazingly well. So I was watching a video earlier. There's a great automation video, a great video made by the devs of automation explaining how suspension tunings works, and that, well, it was more aimed at sports cars and road cars rather than ultimate off-road vehicles. And I have completely forgotten everything. I've also managed to get my mouse. This thing is really heavy. Is that going to be enough now to pull it back over? Yeah, it was more aimed at dealing with your road cars and so on. I have apparently forgotten absolutely everything. I kind of enjoy myself just messing around with this. I mean, to answer the important question at the end of the day here, can you build a capable off-road vehicle in automation that will work in Beam? Probably not quite going to be as good as, you know, the DH Outlaw, the rock-crawling variants of the D-Series, or the various I don't know if the Hell Jeep, I can't remember the name of it now, actually, but the specific rock-crawler vehicles is probably not quite going to be as good as that. Okay, that's perhaps not a surprise. I mean, is this thing pretty capable going up this hill? Yeah, if you knew what you were doing and a bit more work from me, I could probably get the suspension tuning on this to a much better level, a level where it didn't quite bounce around as much, and a bit of fine tuning. I mean, yeah, you probably could. You've got to stop the bouncing from the vehicle. Less bouncing, please. Continue your climbing. We've got a good little bit of momentum here. We really don't want to lose this momentum. I really don't want it to bounce up into the air and then just lose all drive. Bouncing a couple of the wheels up into the air, that's okay. But if we bounce all four wheels up into the air and we've lost all of that lovely, precious momentum, then we're going to be in trouble. I think we're in trouble here. That's it. Stop. Brakes. No, stop. I wanted to see how far we got. We got pretty close, actually. We got pretty close. Better tuned suspension would probably work wonders. I'm not even sure if we haven't broken the car slightly in a crash, or whether that's just how wonky my suspension is. Who knows? But yes, off-road ability or off-roading from the vehicles is pretty... Yeah, I think I got broken. The front of it, the front suspension is not quite behaving itself in the way I initially intended. Off-roading, though, making sensible off-road vehicles, capable off-road vehicles, very, very much possible. So there we go. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty impressed with the ability of this car. We can probably go flying down here now with a big crash, tumble to finish in proper FailRace style. I mean, it's not been fully tested a vehicle until it's been rolled or lost a wheel. I mean, to be fair, the wheel stayed on a lot longer than I thought it was going to. And now we tumble. Oh! Apparently, the left-hand side, sorry, did not want any wheels on it at all. The right-hand side is happy to have wheels. I mean, it's probably... The funny thing is, it's still going to drive after all of this. Is it? I thought it was going to drive. Maybe not. Okay, never mind then. It's not going to drive. It's a little sad. Look at it. It's a sad sad vehicle. That, though, is going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.